there is a new competitor to MicroStrategy. And you might think, oh yeah, who cares? Nobody can compete with MicroStrategy. But check out the team that is behind this one. Basically got everybody. Like that is a massive team that's competing now with MicroStrategy. And it's founded by the Howard Lutnick. That's the Commerce Secretary of the United States right now. That's like Trump's left-hand man. If his right-hand man's Elon Musk, then that's Trump's left-hand man. MicroStrategy versus Coinbase versus the CEP stock. These are all stocks that can tell us about where Bitcoin's going to go next and what important signals are they going to give us. So basically, how is it that MicroStrategy outperformed Bitcoin by 10x? By 10x. The great news is that for all Bitcoin holders and crypto holders, now there's a competing company that's doing the same thing. It's a very powerful company and it's doing the same thing, competing with MicroStrategy to buy more Bitcoins now. This CEP is basically made up of 3 companies mainly. Tether, we all know, they manage $150 billion in assets, USDT. SoftBank manages also like $1 trillion in assets. It goes up and down like it's like a yo-yo. So it's pretty much the largest technology VC in the world. And Cantor Fitzgerald. So Cantor Fitzgerald is basically the company that's founded or co-founded by Lutnick. Is this guy who is now the Secretary of Commerce for Donald Trump. He's a multi-billionaire himself. So 3 very powerful companies, right? Including, True Blood, Blue Blood from the Trump dynasty, from the Trump administration, now all forming this company that is using the same strategy as MicroStrategy just to put more Bitcoins. This is their strategy. The way MicroStrategy does it is it issues more shares. That way it turns into some sort of like a Bitcoin treasury or a Bitcoin ETF, something like that. But you can't redeem your shares, MicroStrategy shares for Bitcoin, but you catch the exposure for growth. And usually what happens is when you issue more shares, the shares crash. But not in this case, because they use those shares to buy Bitcoin. And when they buy Bitcoin, basically the company holds more Bitcoin. So in the end, for every share of MSTR, you hold more Bitcoin. So when this ratio goes up, say for example, for every MicroStrategy share, $500 you hold right now, you're holding like 0.001 Bitcoin, but then that doubles to 0. For every share you are holding 0.002 Bitcoin, then MicroStrategy shares become more valuable. So they figure out this so-called magical system where the more shares you issue, the more your stocks actually go up, provided that you're buying this Bitcoin. And provided, my big warning to everyone who like MicroStrategy shares is that be careful, because this is a self-reinforcing cycle or a flywheel. People call it a flywheel. It only works when everything's going up, right? When Bitcoin's going up, so if the more Bitcoin you hold per MicroStrategy share, the more the value goes up. But on the way down, when it goes into reverse, then it goes the other way. When Bitcoin goes down in value, like if we're in the bear market, it goes down another 50%, conservatively 60, 70%, then basically MicroStrategy shares go down and probably more than Bitcoin as well. So that's the danger when it comes to something like that. But the good news is, as I just told you guys, a company now called CEP, Cantor Equity Partners, and they are forming a company with $3.6 billion to be invested from Tether, from SoftBank, from Cantor, to be buying Bitcoin. And now you have a lot of copycats in the world as well, such as that Japanese one called MetaPlanet. It's going to attract more copycats. And it's also a sign of the top of the market coming. You know how you're looking for topping signals? I'm not saying the market will top right now. I do think Bitcoin has one more big leg up. I don't know what the final number is going to be, but once we break 112K, 115, 120K, goes for another leg up. I think that's going to happen. Once it gets there, I'm going to be watching out for a lot of these topping signals. Like one topping signal, for example, is this CEP, Cantor Fitzgerald, right? The one I was talking about. And they're now becoming another MicroStrategy. They were floating around this $10, $11 area. And then as soon as they announced, this is the weekly chart, went straight to boom, almost $60. So it's like a 5.5x move just in 3 days, as soon as the news was announced. These are not jokers we're talking about. MicroStrategy's founder, Michael Saylor, he's known as a bit of a joke in Silicon Valley. His stock literally crashed like 99.8%. MicroStrategy was the biggest loser. It was called the biggest loser of the dot-com bubble. It went down the most, and so he wasn't taken very seriously. But now you have more serious players. Tether, $150 billion. SoftBank, very respected. Harold Lutnick is, Trump's left-hand man right now in the trade negotiation. So these are powerful Trump dynasty, Wall Street, and Japanese VC players coming in, and that could attract more players, more copycats of this MicroStrategy model of selling shares to buy Bitcoin. As long as you get that ratio of Bitcoin over MSTR, that's a model that I think will propel Bitcoin to new highs. But in a few months, I think we top probably something like September to November of this year. We get that top in Bitcoin. We probably have some sort of small or even a big altcoin season between now and then big bear market comes, and we saw that MicroStrategy outperformed Bitcoin by 10x on the way up. It's going to outperform Bitcoin on the way down as well. Okay, so it's these sort of strategies are flywheels, and it's great on the way up, but very dangerous on the way down.